everybody, to the
I'm Fat Podcast.
Snacks are best saved for later.
With Jay Zawoski.
That man ate all our shrimp and 2 plastic lobsters.
And Rick Camp.
Out of the mist came a beast more stomach than man.
Welcome into another edition of the I'm Fat Podcast, brought to you by our sponsors, Charlie the Bacon Guy, Mazda of Orland Park, Frato's Culinary Kitchen, and Nick and Ivy Brewing. I am Rick Camp alongside fellow fat Jay Zawoski, and Jay, we're kind of breaking form a little bit just in the fact of we're recording while it's still light out.
Yeah, it's weird.
And yeah, it's like still, yes, it is technically the morning on Sunday when we are recording right now. And I think we're both a little disoriented, but I know we got plenty to get to today.
Oh, we got a ton to get to, and thanks for being with us. We appreciate that. Make sure you are subscribed on your favorite podcast app. That's helpful. So you're not, it's great when you just like tune in and find it, but when you're subscribed, you're going to get them right there, right when they pop up, nice and fresh. So do that. Also, make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, youtube.com/I'mFatPodcast, that you hit that like button for us every time. Make sure you're subscribed to that channel as well. I've not checked our subscribers, but we got to get to that 1,000 mark. Let's find a creative way to do that. I wish there was a way. See, here's the thing. YouTube's weird, and I've done some research, and maybe there's some people that actually know YouTube a little better than I do, because like we could see the people who subscribe, right? But I can't contact them. I have no way of contacting them directly. And I would say throw your email into your comment.
Yeah.
And then I could email you that way. Maybe they could do it how you tweet out your email. Like I'll actually do when we do the Hawks mailbag, I'll say Blackhawks and then write AT, all CHGO DOTCOM, phonetically instead of having to type it. We'll find a way. We're going to find a way to get over that 1,000 hump. Maybe
847 subscribers.
Okay, we're moving up slowly. But we got to get to that 1,000, and I'll find a way, and we'll announce it, and we'll send you not only an I'm Fat Podcast t-shirt, but how about a Nick and Ivy gift card? How does that sound?
Ooh.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, well, you know what? Let's just do that. If you're comfortable, subscribe to our YouTube page, and then comment on today's video. Our videos post on Tuesdays. On today's video with your email, but do it so it's not like a link, or so it can't be copied and pasted. So write DOTCOM, right? So I can just see what it is and then do it manually, babe. And then we'll get people entered. Once we get to 1,000, we'll pick a winner. Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how we do it.
Or, and I'm just spitballing because we're producing this on the air.
Yes.
If you're not necessarily comfortable with that, screenshot your subscription and email it to imfatpod@gmail.com.
That's a better idea. So either of those will work. Yes, either of those will work. imfatpod@gmail.com is where you want to send that. We're also on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and
Threads.
But I think Threads died.
Yeah, it had a good run.
It was a fun week.
Yeah,
Threads was really the friends we made along the way, wasn't it?
It kind of was. Then what's Blue Sky?
I don't know. I
don't know either.
I don't like the way Twitter's going, but at the same time, everyone's there already.
Everybody has so much sweat equity into it.
And what I use Twitter for, I need people to be there.
Yep.
It's not just another place where I'm just sharing thoughts into the ether. I use it for my job. I need it for news. And I can't just wait for Threads or Blue Sky or whatever to populate enough newsmakers to actually go over there. So I guess we're sort of stuck with X.
Yeah. I mean, who on Blue Sky or Threads is going to tell you every time Connor Bedard has blinked?
That's right. Well, that's Mario Tirabasi's job, which I appreciate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his department. Anyway, we've got our Patreon. You can help us out. You could tip us on Twitter. You can also click in our description here, and there's a link to contribute monthly if you'd like to help us out financially. Or, again, the best way to help us for free is to just leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We also, I believe there is a TeePublic sale running through today, Monday. It started Sunday with very little fanfare, as TeePublic is wont to do. But jump on there, see if there's a sale. $16 classic tees. I'mFatMerch.com. All right. Before we get into our typical fat stuff, I want to mention the death of Jimmy Buffett, which hit me a little bit harder yesterday than I expected. There was a time in my early 20s where I would like fully identify as a capital P parrot head. Like, oh yeah. Like I went to a ton of shows, maybe younger than that, actually, like college-ish, like that age.
So all the cougars were like on you.
Yeah, I guess, sure. Yeah. Well, you know, me and women, I'm beating them off.
Well, I mean, the cougars at a Buffett show are tipsy at a minimum. So,
oh no, it's a lot of drunkenness, for sure. So, but over the years, like I kind of phased out of the, I don't know how to describe it. Like when Jimmy Buffett became like a cottage industry, his music kind of changed. It became more like towards the brand of Jimmy Buffett versus what made him great was he's an excellent songwriter and an excellent storyteller, and his very early stuff, like I will fight to the death for it. It's wonderful. It's, you know, satirical. It's funny. It's everything you want in folksy kind of country-ish kind of music. It's there. I actually tweeted out yesterday, I built a playlist of those songs. I call it Old Country Buffett. Because, you know, Old Country Buffet. Anyway, it works out well. And it's like 15 to 20 of those classic songs that made me fall in love with his music. And I was thinking, like, of musicians who talk about food, Jimmy Buffett he's up there, man. One of his biggest hits is Cheeseburger in Paradise. He had a restaurant in Downers Grove-ish. Yeah, called Cheeseburger in Paradise. And here's a funny story. My buddy Johnny Russler, him and I went to Lewis together, and Johnny is in
hold on. You know Johnny Russler?
Of the Beach Bum Band?
Yeah.
Yes. Johnny Russler was the first person to put me on the radio in any way, shape, or form.
My roommate from college has been in that band since 2007.
That's so funny. That you and I have known each other for what, like 10 years, and it's never come up. So that's
funny.
So Johnny Russler he's in the Beach Bum Band, and they're like, I don't know what you call it, like a Jimmy Buffett style band, but they write original music and they play covers and stuff. And Jimmy showed up and played with them at Cheeseburger in Paradise like years and years ago.
Was that when they were in the Keys?
No, they were here. I think it was 2003.
Oh.
Like Jimmy Buffett just showed up in town. They may have played with him before at other times. Yeah. Because in terms of those kind of bands, they're pretty popular. But I know that Jimmy showed up at Cheeseburger in Paradise and they played together. I remember it was on CLTV.
Okay.
So cool. Anyway, so he's got Cheeseburger in Paradise, and I played that for Addie yesterday, and it's like, I like mine with lettuce and tomato, Heinz 57, French fried potatoes, big kosher pickle, and a cold draft beer. Which got me thinking, is Heinz 57 still a thing? I don't see it anywhere anymore.
I think it might be. Nowhere, not like popular at all.
Yeah, but didn't it used to be like a staple at your table when you'd go to a Red Robin-ish kind of a place?
See, I don't remember that. I mean, I just remember like Heinz ketchup, but not like
Heinz 57 was different. It was like almost like a barbecue-y kind of a deal.
Right, because the tint is more like reddish, like rustic or rusty almost.
Yes. Okay, it's still out there. Cool. Anyway, so you got that. You got Cheeseburger in Paradise. Then one of my favorite songs, and it's on that playlist. It's called The Wino and I Know. And he talks about Café du Monde in New Orleans. He says, coffee is strong at the Café du Monde. Donuts are too hot to touch. Just like a fool when those sweet goodies cool, I eat till I eat way too much. And I like this part because I'm living on things that excite me, be they pastry, lobster, or love. It's cool. See, it's like just good stuff. I just like the whole idea of what he's trying to say, you know? And then, of course, you got a song about grapefruit and juicy fruit. Got a song about gum. So anyway, it hit me a little harder yesterday than I expected. So I wanted to just take a minute to I know there's probably a little bit of crossover with the people that listen to us and the people that like Jimmy Buffett. Seems like a similar kind of a group. But man, I was just nonstop listening to him yesterday, and it was a tougher day than I thought. I think it didn't help that I had like 2 hours of sleep the night before for whatever reason.
That's not going to help matters.
No. But R.I.P. Jimmy Buffett. A lot of good times, and I said on Twitter too, like, soon the Twitter cool kids will come out and start crapping on Jimmy Buffett and Jimmy Buffett fans. And just remember, like, especially where we're at now in the world, like, if someone can make you feel good about things for 3 hours, or other people feel good about things for 3 hours, even if it's not your thing, let them have it. Let people have their joy. Let people have their stuff. That it doesn't all have to be high art,
right?
To have value, right? So don't yuck people's yum, I guess would be what I would say, especially when you know that there's people are so passionate about Buffett, and there are people that really have kind of committed their lives to it, made it like part of their lifestyle, and I don't think they want to hear from Joe Cool on Twitter just crapping all over it because
smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, Jimmy Buffett's not like some shoegazing. I like that stuff too, but just let people have their thing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's so funny about the Beach Bum Band.
I know,
because I've literally been to a ton of their shows and stuff. Just because, like, at one point in time, two of my two guys that I was roommates with were in the band. One was playing steel pan. One was on bass. That's just funny.
Well, next time you go, let's go together because I haven't seen John. Me and him keep in touch, via Facebook and stuff. But I haven't seen them forever, and I haven't seen him forever, and I would like to. Yeah. So it's actually the first thing I did yesterday. I was in bed in hopes like Jimmy Buffett died. I'm like, oh God. So I just went on Instagram and I wrote Johnny like, dude, hope you're all right, So yeah. Anyway, that'd be cool. That's so funny. I mean, it makes sense that you played steel pan and a bunch of players. Like, how many can there be in the Chicagoland area?
True. Yeah. That's so funny.
That's awesome.
That's great.
All right.
Okay, let's see. Transition from those listeners are some of our listeners. Someone who could be a listener of ours is the main story of the week that we got absolutely bombarded with.
Oh my God.
And is the only thing to make the White Sox season more perfect. As a self-loathing White Sox fan.
Are there any other kinds?
Right. At this point, no, there are not. A White Sox game where there was the shooting and everybody was worried, wondering where the shot came from. And a lot of, understandably, a lot of people confused.
Yes.
And at least according to the reports that we've seen and that we really, really want to believe, this was the result. The shooting of the person who had the gun and their fellow CPS teacher that they were at the game with. A gun stored under her belly fat. Jay, this is an all-timer.
Now, here's the question. I've been trying to visualize, and I think I've seen the video of it happening, and there's a person shaped like a potato in the area of the incident. Yes. And I'm trying to figure out, is it between a roll or is it under the flap?
I'm thinking under the flap.
Okay.
Because then you get a little bit of support possibly on the low end from the hip. Yeah. So maybe it's stored a little bit above and using the hip to help keep it there.
Yeah, that could be.
I still don't know how it would have fired. I think
it fell out and hit the ground.
Is that what happened?
Something. I mean, I don't know. I by the way, just sidebar, I don't really believe that's what happened. But whatever, fine.
How dare you, sir?
I don't know. I'm not getting into it. It's not the right show for that, but I think there's other things that went on. But whatever. I like the belly fat story, so I'm going to roll with it.
Yes.
So pun unintended.
Right. I was going to say, I soloed on a belly roll in high school.
Yes.
It's actually a jazz tune.
I do. That makes sense, though. So if she's sitting there, and then maybe she kind of adjusts her seat or whatever, as fat people have to do at baseball games.
Right.
Either to do the swass wipe with your butt, or just readjust things because they're stuck. And then you move and the roll goes up too much and the thing just falls out, hits the floor, and bang, goes off.
Also, where's your safety? Keep the safety on, bro.
I've never fired a gun. I fired I've shot a BB gun. That's cool.
Okay.
So I don't know how they what a safety does. Is a safety something that can easily be undone?
I've never dealt with a handgun. I've done a turkey shoot, and that's about it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
We
not
probably sound like total idiots to a lot of
know.
people out there.
Well,
but
I
I'm
mean,
like,
let us know. Like, for the record, if you want to have a gun, cool. Like, I don't have anything. I don't have a problem with that. I just think that it should be a little harder than buying like a candy bar. But if you know how a safety works, let us know, because I can't imagine if the safety was on and it just fell and hit the ground that it would go off.
Yeah, I would be very surprised. But our friend Chris Ranji brought me on. This is just so funny. Like, KMOX is like it's like the WBBM of St. Louis.
Yes.
And he had me on to talk about this and was like, well, first of all, I was able to break, not that it's hard to break Ranji on the air, but he just was like very serious, kind of serious, like, Rick, how are you? What do you think my response was?
Hi, Box.
Hi, Chris. I went full Bob from Niles on him, and he was laughing very hard. But the first thing he asked is, he's like, is this plausible? I think it is. I'm not saying it's likely, but I think it's plausible.
I'm thinking if the gun was like the kind you see where people hide them like in their sock, like just the little tiny ones,
Mm-hmm.
That yes, that would be. Now, this was a bigger person than I think you or I have ever been in terms of.
That's what I'm assuming.
In terms of like, maybe you and I are bulkier, but in terms of roll.
Fat distribution. Like, I always talk about how, like, the one thing that's been a saving grace for me is I feel like my fat is fairly equally distributed throughout.
Yes.
If I was someone where it was more like centrally located, like below the ribs and above the knees, it'd be a rough look for me.
Yeah. So this person looked like one of those people that is fat on top with normal legs.
Okay. Yes.
Right. So I think there's probably, if we're going from like breast to like 2 rolls into ribs and then probably a belly overhang, that's a lot of options.
That's true.
In which to store a tiny gun. So I do think it's plausible. Yeah, I think it's plausible. Definitely.
Am I a bad person for, like, once we knew everybody was like, okay, and it was just like, getting grazed with the bullet and whatever.
Yeah.
Being like, this is my favorite thing. This is 100% my favorite thing.
It's just, what I like about it is the awareness of the person to know that I'm fat enough that I can put it here and the metal detectors will not find it.
Or they will not be willing to go searching to that extent for it.
Yes. It's like, I love the gif of the old security guy who's like just like barely. That's security at every Grateful Dead show.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure.
You better not have any drugs. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because they would just fill like multiple garbage cans with drugs.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is good. I think overall, this is, a lot of people are saying this is a bad look for the fat community. On its face, not great.
No, it's not great.
However, it does show some of the versatility of fat.
Yeah, we can hide things that you can't.
Right. We can use it for, like, pregnant women found out about, like, for folding clothes. Now, it's obviously different for them. It, like, this specific instance would not work for pregnant women, but like folding clothes, using as a portable table, those type things.
Yeah, when you're slouching the couch, you can just put the bowl of whatever right there.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're
that's there for you. You can use it for leverage. Like, that helps.
Yeah, we're Swiss Army knives, being fat people.
Yes.
Also,
exactly.
Security people are less willing to touch you because they think you're gross and sweaty. They're probably right.
And not just that. It's also great for deterring social interaction. Like, if it's a Southwest flight and people can choose where they sit, then something I do, and I'm pretty sure I've said this on the podcast before, is I act not necessarily agitated, but unsettled. So I'm fidgety and I'm like, doing one of these all the time and just kind of like messing around in my seat. I do extra shirt tugs just so that people are like, I don't want to sit next to that guy.
Yeah, I want to sit by the fat guy. Yeah, me and Spiegel had this funny conversation about like when we board an airplane and we start walking down the aisles and people are like, don't sit here. Please don't sit here.
Yep.
You know? Oh God, that's like when me.
Everybody's sitting there like, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Stop.
I don't know if I've told this story before. We went to the Super Bowl in New Orleans with was it Niners and Ravens when the lights went out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Niners Ravens.
So we didn't go to the game, but we went down there for Radio Row, and we were leaving the broadcast one day, and Spiegel's like, "We should get a rickshaw." And I was like, all right. And the two of us are walking, and the rickshaw guy makes eye contact with Spiegs, and I just saw his heart sink. He's like, okay, get on. So me and Spiegs get on the rickshaw. I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. I'm like, I really want to just take an Uber. He's like, no, it's fine. It's fine. His heart is ripping out of his chest.
Right.
Oh God.
Oh, that's like at the when I was working the golf tournament, and the one day I was on the golf cart with a guy who was a similar size to me, and we saw this really big hill we had to go down and then back up, and I felt bad for the golf cart.
Yeah. Speaking of that, do we want to talk about your fat achievement unlocked at the golf outing?
Did we not before? Oh, that's right, we did it. Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
we didn't even mention it last week. Okay. So yeah, 1 week removed, or a couple weeks removed now. So we recorded on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday was the weather was gorgeous. Like I was there Wednesday through Saturday. The weather was gorgeous, like high 70s, low 80s. Considering the time of year, that's all you could ask for. Sunday, 92, and not just 92, but 92 with no clouds in the sky, and it was like oppressive sun and humidity mixed in, so like the real feel was like closer to 100.
Yeah, aggressively 92.
Yes. So I'm out on the course with the camera guy I'm working with at like 10:30, and we are last in rotation to get a break. We're on a hole where essentially we have the longest walk from where we start out for a tee shot to where we have to go for the approach shot, and there are 0 trees around this hole. So it was rough. We had 11 groups that we had there, then we had to go to another hole, and we were both dying. And this guy is like clearly former athlete that is following around the golfers for a vast majority of the season on tour. So even he's asking for water. He hadn't asked for water all weekend or all week, all this stuff. We get to our break. I know I'm not in good. I know I'm not in good shape. Stop. Also, I was not in good, like I was not feeling right. Like I was a little woozy, all this stuff. So when we go to break, the my camera guy is like, hey, go over to the nurses thing. He was like, they have those liquid IVs they can throw in your water, get some electrolytes in you, whatever.
Yeah.
Sit in the cold for like the hour and change that we had off. So I go in there, and she's like, are you supposed to go back out there? I was like, yeah. She's like, no, you're not. You are not going back out there.
Wow.
Because she was like, you have heat exhaustion. You are not going back out there. She's like, are you supposed to help out, like break everything down after the tournament? Like, yeah. She's like, no, you're not.
Holy cow.
Like, I was kind of shaky. I didn't realize that I was like that dehydrated. So to start the day, drank 2 waters and a Gatorade before even leaving the tent to go out to the course. Then while on the course, had like 2.5 bottles of water, and so got into my break at like 2:45, and I'm in there with the nurse. I have in like an hour, was it even an hour? I don't know. 3 bottles of water and a Gatorade. And she's like, do you have to pee yet? And I was like, no.
Oh God.
So she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I got pulled off the course for heat exhaustion, and I was the fattest utility. I think I was the fattest utility there. There was maybe a close call, but
I saw a picture
told
of the group,
her,
and you are not the fattest.
Okay.
I mean, that guy looks like there's one dude that looks like he swallowed you.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, yeah.
So, but either way, I even told the nurse, I'm like, boy, I'm not really breaking any stereotypes for fat guys here, am I? So the one really hot day we had, was it really bad heat? Was everybody dealing with it? Yes. Am I the one that got pulled off the course?
I
kind of was.
It happens though, dude. Like it doesn't like discriminate that way. I remember it happened to me when I was in 8th grade playing football, and I didn't know. My coach came out and I said I got to take a break because I was playing both ways, and I said to my coach, like, I got to take a break. Like I don't know where I was kind of, from what my friends told me, kind of not speaking clearly. He's like, it's almost halftime. And I remember, the last thing I remember is tackling a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just, as the guard, I like left the line and just wrapped up and pulled down the linebacker.
Oh.
Because I didn't know what side of the ball I was on.
Yeah.
And then I remember at halftime, I said something to my coaches and they all like stopped and ran to me and like tore off my equipment and started like pouring water on me. So I must have said something weird or slurred or something, because they all like just stopped what they were doing and like three or four of them like just gathered around me and then like started like fanning me, and like, so they knew something was wrong. I was okay. Like by the, I didn't play the rest of the game, but by the end of halftime, I was like kind of back with it and everything.
Yeah.
But this was 1992, like before people,
like
they're like, rub some dirt on it.
Yeah, remember when the Junction Boys came out and people were like, "Oh, that's the way it should have been." Blah blah blah.
That's the way football's done. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but there's nothing. I think you sound like you did everything right, but it's just a perfect storm, man. It happens.
Yeah. So, I mean, on the like selfishly looking at it after the fact, like, did I feel terrible that I wasn't there to like help everybody like pack up all the? It's a lot of work to like tear down all the fiber and all the stuff they have set up for one of those tournaments.
Yeah.
So I felt bad about that, especially when I've been like working with these guys all week. But I got to leave early and I got paid for the full day.
Yeah. Well, it's nice it's good that they're taking care of you,
100%.
You'd have to worry if you were working for another outlet if they would give the same care.
Right. That's kind of one of the good things about that type of gig, where it was like a union gig and like CBS was really taking care of us. Like CBS was really cool about it. Like everything that they did for us. Obviously we went over the spread and all the food and type of stuff that they had, but it was one of those where it's like, okay, you're getting paid well and they're treating you well. So even though I wasn't feeling good, I wanted to go back out there and do the work. Yeah.
And they said, no, we're going to take care of you as a person and someone, it's okay. Happy Labor Day, everybody. Really, that's great. That's a good thing. You had protections and you had things in place. And if it wasn't you, it was someone else. And if it was the guy you were working with that happened to, you wouldn't think anything less of him. You'd say, good, I'm glad you got taken care of. So anyway, that's good. Good stuff. Yeah. All right, well, that's a little sidebar, so we're going to get to some other stuff here in a second. But first, I want to remind you about our friends at Mazda of Orland Park. I'm headed out there this week for my oil change, 8910 West 159th Street in Orland Park, Mazda of OrlandPark.com. I've got some friends who are buying a used car, and I don't, it's a lot of money. And my CX-30 that I bought from Mazda of Orland Park is cheaper than a lot of the used cars on the market right now.
Wow.
To buy new. And I guess the used car market is just astronomical right now because people are just like, I'm buying used. I'm buying a used car because I need to save money. Well, sometimes you take a look at the new stuff and it's cheaper. Like I got my CX-30 for like $24,600 or something like that. That's one of those things too, where even if it's not technically cheaper, when you get to within a certain range, isn't it worth it to get new so that you get all the extra warranty and whatever benefits that you get along with it? And
like
you're starting you're starting from 0 miles. There's no
that was the calculus that I went through when I got mine.
Yeah.
Was the same type of thing.
Anyway, just throwing it out there. If you're looking for a car and you're saying, money's tight, I don't know what I can really afford a month, check out Mazda of Orland Park. They've got some incredible deals, some incredible prices on wonderful cars. Both Mazdas I've owned, I just do the routine maintenance and the things, they take care of themselves. They're great vehicles. I couldn't recommend them more. Mazda of OrlandPark.com. Go visit the showroom, 8910 West 159th Street. I know you've been on a donut run lately, and I know you've got some donuts to talk about today. But yesterday, I took Addie to her pitching lesson out in St. John, Indiana, and we went to the Donut Foundry, 14817 101st Avenue in Dyer, Indiana. So you got to go to Indiana. I'm sorry. That's the only thing about it.
It's rough.
It's in a Recharge coffee shop, which is also a very nice looking coffee joint. But you can see there the nice box on your screen from Donut Foundry. It says, "Life is short, eat more donuts." There's a picture of the Long John I got, which is really good. Like a nice thick coating of chocolate on that, nice and soft. And then there's the sour cream old fashioned that we got for Hope, which was great. And then this is a Oreo topped cake donut style thing. It's got like crumbled Oreos, some frosting, and then there's like a white glaze underneath the Oreos. All of them were really, really good. So if you're out in Indiana for some reason,
wonderful.
Yeah, they were really good. Go check out the Donut Foundry inside of Recharge Coffee, 14817 101st Avenue in Dyer, Indiana. Not like the best donuts I've ever had, but well above average. And if you're out in that area, make a note to stop there and check it out. They had a big selection, and it was kind of later in the day too. So I'm sure we missed out on some. And their coffee menu was huge and extensive and creative. They had smoothies, all sorts of stuff. So it's Recharge Coffee / Donut Foundry in Dyer, Indiana. Really good stuff.
Okay, the donut place that I went to this morning, earlier today, and since we're recording on Sunday, is, I think it was mentioned because of the country style donuts that Sam and I went to before. We went to County Donuts this time. So County Donuts is 1218 South Roselle Road in Schaumburg. And our thing is like, we just get like either a half dozen or a dozen, and then we'll just like, we'll either have them or quarter them so we can try as much as we want. So as I'm looking at the picture, trying to remember, going from the top of the screen to the bottom, you have apple spice, 2 sugar rays, which was one of my favorites. Just a yeast donut with the sugar. Like I would say their yeast donuts are better than their cake donuts, but the cake donuts are still really good. Obviously, the chocolate Long John. Then you got chocolate cake, blueberry cake, red velvet cake.
Ooh.
Yeah, buddy. Then the one turned the other way is a buttermilk.
Okay.
You get the old fashioned with the powdered sugar in the back, a honey dip, maple glazed, and the home cut, which is basically just like a plain donut.
Damn. Now that's the place on the way to Frato's, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So if of what I had loved, that is to show how, because you know how like some cake donuts are really dense.
Yeah.
These are not that dense. So that's a cut of the old fashioned.
Looks really good.
It's very good. The only criticism I have, and this is probably more of a personal preference thing, is I do like a little bit more of the crunch on a cake donut.
Agree.
There's not as much there, but how light and fluffy the inside is great. Like the blueberry one almost straight up tastes just more like a muffin with a glaze on it.
That blueberry looks awesome. I love the blueberry ones. I've been getting the blueberry old fashions at Stan's lately, and they're terrific.
Oh, that sounds great.
Because they got like a blueberry glaze on like the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. I think the honey dip and the sugar raised are probably like, compared to what you would think of each donut, probably highest above replacement.
Okay.
The cake donuts are still very good. Like I enjoyed the red velvet a ton. Sam really loved the chocolate. Like that's one of her go-tos, is like if she's doing a cake donut, she's doing like that chocolate one. And it was also really good. Like it's like you mentioned with your place, is it the best donut I've ever had? No, but is it a really good option? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend it. Plenty of options as well. And it's kind of got like an old school, like cozy feel to it when you go in there too. So it's County Donuts, 1218 South Roselle Road in Schaumburg.
All right. I've on the way to Frato's, I always drive by that place.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks terrific. Like like you said, it's got that kind of old style sign where you're, where it's like, is this as good as it looks? like I said last week,
Yes.
when you see an old sign, clearly it's been there a while, so it must have some reasonable success. So awesome, that's great. I'm glad you got to go there. I've been curious about that place forever, and now I have confirmation to go.
Yes.
All right, so this week I tried another place that I've been meaning to try, and again, it's been there forever. Lawrence Fish and Shrimp. There's a bunch of these, but I tried the one on Canal, 2120 South Canal Street. You may have seen it if you're ever coming down Canal, like through like Chinatown, like from Cermak, and then you turn down Canal. It's huge. There's a big shrimp. It's on the river. It's really a cool place, and they've clearly refurbished it. That place is effing spotless.
Yeah.
It was spotless, and like I walked in, like, did this place open today? Like seriously, it looked. And as I was in there, there was a worker that was cleaning every table, just like seriously, like, taking like a broom and like washing the seat. Like it was spotless in there. So wasn't sure what to get, so I kept it kind of basic. I got the ocean perch. No, god damn it! I wrote it down and now I forgot what I got. I forgot it's shrimp.
Wait, you wrote it down? So did you write it down wrong?
I don't know where I wrote it down.
Oh, okay. I've done that.
Yes. Hang on. Give me 1 second. I'll make sure.
No, you're good.
Exactly what it is. Okay. I got ocean perch. Okay, I was right. Yes, the ocean perch. So you can get a half pound or a pound. So I got the pound or half pound, and it came with fries that were great. And I ordered an order of the corn fritters. And the corn fritters were $3.99. I'm like, well, that's kind of like that's like a little bit pricey, like for corn fritters. I got 10 of them.
Oh,
yes. So on the screen there is one of the perch pieces, and next to it is the corn fritter. That open container there, that's their own like proprietary hot sauce, which was great. I'm a big fried fish guy. I love it. This was excellent. I can't wait to go in there and try the other stuff. I know there's one in Olympia Fields, which is very close to me. That's where you were a couple weekends ago. And I want to see if it's the same, but this was the original one. Also, but the whole thing. So I got that. I got the 4 pieces of the perch and a drink and everything, and it was $14.
really?
Yeah, it was a really reasonable deal. So other stuff they have there too. They've got whitefish chips, which are like boneless, skinless pollock. Like they're just kind of small little bites.
Okay.
Catfish strips. So like catfish tenders, basically. Crunchy cod, which are like kind of cod nuggets. I think I'm going to try that next time. And then they've got the whole catfish, which is fried.
That's my nickname in high school, by the way.
What, crunchy cod or whole catfish?
Cod nuggets.
Cod nuggets. That makes sense. And then the whole catfish, bone-in, headless, whole fried chicken. It's too real for me. Can't do it. Then they've got frog legs, oysters, like fried oysters, scallops, calamari, and clam strips. And then they also have wing zings, which are breaded chicken wings, and then chicken tenders. They also have a perch sandwich, a hot honey chicken sandwich, and a crispy shrimp sandwich. So lots of options. And even for the kids, there's like popcorn shrimp, chicken strips. There's all kinds of stuff in there. But man, I didn't really know what to expect in terms of cost and in terms of like portions and stuff. I could not finish everything. I left a significant portion of those French fries uneaten because the 4 pieces of perch and the 10 corn fritters.
Yeah, that is not an insignificant corn fritter.
No, they were a good size, and it was really, really good. Again, this is a place that people have probably been going to for years, but it's the first time I ever decided to pull off. I did ask, do you separately fry your shrimp and your fish? Because Hope is allergic.
Great question.
Yeah, she's allergic to shellfish, so I knew she would like it, but they don't. They're in the same fryer, so if you have an allergy to shellfish, you probably would want to avoid Lawrence's. But if you don't, check it out for sure. It's good. I will say I've had better fried fish. Like it's probably more of a personal preference of this is more of a panko breading, where I prefer more of a beer, like a traditional fish and chips, like a beer batter.
Sure.
Kind of a breading, but still, crispy, but the fish was flaky. It had a fish taste, but it wasn't fishy.
Okay.
I could tell everything was really fresh. And again, you could seriously walk in there and eat on the floor. It is that clean in there. It was. I could not believe how clean it was. Because anytime you're dealing with exclusively fried food, it's tough to keep clean.
Right.
Every item in the store is oily and greasy. People are licking their fingers and they got greasy fingers, and you're throwing away trash that's greasy. This place was absolutely spotless. I was blown away by how clean it was.
Is that what we should call our Hall & Oates cover band? Oily and greasy?
I think so. I think that's our Ren and Stimpy reboot.
Oh, okay. That's probably more appropriate for us.
Did I tell you, by the way, I put on an episode of Ren and Stimpy for Addie, and she just looked at me like, what is happening? I go, you know what?
You get it.
Exactly. I go, thank you. Now you understand Ren and Stimpy, because that is very much like 90s humor. Just random, weird, like powdered toast man and log and all that stuff. The log commercial came on, and she was like, is this a commercial about a log? I go, yeah. Yeah. She goes, why? I go, you're asking too many questions.
Right.
Just give into it. Just enjoy it.
Just like here, just pop an edible first. It'll make more sense.
Oh, dude, that was me the other night. Brian and Sarah came over and we were sitting at the table, and I just we're in a mid conversation. I just go, I had taken an edible like an hour and a half before. I go, yeah, you know what I want? Jelly beans. And they all like stopped and looked at me and are like, your edible kicked in. I'm like, I think it did. I think we became a team. I think my edible just kicked in. Absolutely. I just stopped the conversation. I really want jelly beans.
That's great. Oh, that's funny.
I love
that. So it's Sam has stoner thoughts without no edible necessary. Sometimes like we'll be, and it's funny because like sometimes we're both like on task doing what we're doing, and then we'll just get a stop. And I think this morning was, how did it get that dogs were pets? Like, did they try other animals and they couldn't really domesticate them well? I'm like, I've never thought about that, but I mean, it's not the worst question in the world.
Yeah. One of my edible thoughts was an animal lives in our house. Like there is an animal living in our home. It's just a weird concept. When you break it down to like there is a wild animal that just lives with us. And we treat it like a member of the family.
And you're somehow able to communicate.
Yes. Very strange. Stoner thoughts are fun, man. But I just my non sequitur. I really have a taste for jelly beans. It was like the record scratch. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah,
wonderful."
Right. Those are the Rick is showing the Mindy's the black cherry. That's it. That's what triggered the thought.
Yeah, dude, they're so great.
My friend Leah, Micah, who edits our video, his wife, says taking a Mindy's edible is like taking a warm bath.
Yeah.
It's just like, just takes that edge off. You don't feel high. A little bit, maybe a little bit.
I have when I've taken two. That's for sure.
I've never taken two. I would say I would not drive on one Mindy's.
No.
There are some edibles like microdose I can take and I'm totally fine. Like my Good News, the Frye vape, I can usually do like a hit and be okay. But if I take a Mindy's, I cannot operate a vehicle.
Yeah. I if nothing else, I wouldn't want to try it.
Yes.
I would not want to find out. Let's put it that way.
It's like the video of Homer like dragging the fence along with him. And
yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. All right. Before we move on, I got a couple other things to get to before we get to Ask a Fat. I want to tell you about our friends. Rick was just there in Schaumburg. Frato's Culinary Kitchen, 628 South Roselle Road in Schaumburg. FratosPizza.com, FratosBakery.com. Follow them on Instagram at Frato's Pizza and at Frato's Bakery. If you've not tried Frato's yet, I don't know what more we can tell you about Frato's that's going to convince you to go. Just if you're in the Schaumburg area, you can do this thing when you're on. If you have an iPhone, you can ask your assistant, hey, next time I'm in Schaumburg, remind me to go to Frato's. And it will know. If you're in Schaumburg, it will remind you. It does that. It really does. Like I always do that. Next time I'm at my parents' house, remind me to change the light bulbs or whatever it might be, right? And it knows where you're at and it tells you. Find a way because you've got to try Frato's. And when you do, Place that order online at Fredo'sPizza.com. Use the promo code I'm Fat, and you'll save 10% on your order. We've talked a lot about all the great menu items they have, but it's been a while since I mentioned their amazing catering. We had a party probably last summer, actually. Frato's handled the whole thing. My family still talks about it, about how wonderful the food was, about how excellent the catering was handled, how easy the pickup was, top to bottom. You know, I'm probably a little late for graduation parties, but as the holidays approach and you're looking for catering opportunities, don't forget our friends at Frato's Pizza in Schaumburg. Check them out, 628 South Roselle Road, Fredo'sPizza.com, Fredo'sBakery.com, and of course, if you've got an anniversary or a significant other's birthday or something coming up, hit up Fredo'sBakery.com, get those brownies, get those cookies, and you'll be enjoying things later as well. Talking about intercourse. That's what I was referring to.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I got one more thing I want to talk about.
Okay. I have one more thing too.
Beautiful. Okay.
First.
Tried another place. Now that I'm Mr. Ramen, I'm the ramen man. Went to see. So this week, I went to see Murder by Death at the Metro. The show started at 9.
Tough.
So I'm out of work at 3:30 at CHGO. So I had some time to kill. So I went to see Oppenheimer. That knocked out 3.5 hours real quick. By the way,
Thoughts?
have you seen it?
No.
Okay. I mean, you know what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm just Florence Pugh is the new champion in a particular category.
Oh,
And if you've seen the movie, you
Pew, pew, pew.
know what I'm talking about and probably agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The movie was great. It was the cast is insane. Like every scene, you're like, oh my God, is that? Yes. So it's Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Emily Blunt, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Josh Hartnett, who I've not seen in 100 years.
Yeah, right?
Then like Rami Malek was in it and had like no speaking parts until the end. I'm like, that's kind of a waste of Rami Malek. But it wasn't, because he turned out to have a really important role in the movie. And then hockey cameo, Sean Avery. Remember Sean Avery?
Sean Avery. Yes.
Sean Avery has one line in the movie. He's like
Number 16 in your programs for the Rangers.
and many teams, because he was a penis.
Yep.
There's a part where they're doing the Trinity test, which is the first time they test the bomb, and there's like weather happening, and he's the military weatherman. So he has one spoken part, and I'm like, and I was one of 6 people in the theater. I'm in the back row as I always do. I'm like, was that Sean Avery? So I pull out my phone. Like, it was Sean Avery. So he's got a speaking line, but man, it was great. I would say if you have an attention span issue, see it in the theater. Because you need to there's a lot happening. There's a lot of kind of, not twists and turns, but you're kind of seeing the film from 2 perspectives.
Okay.
So you've got to pay attention. Like Hope said, Hope has ADHD. And she said, would I like it? I go, you would, but it would take you a month to watch.
Gotcha.
Because you'd have to keep rewinding, like, what did I miss, etc. But it's really good. And congratulations to Florence Pugh, the new champion of boobs. Anyway, after that, I needed to get dinner. So I went to Penny's Noodle Shop. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's in Lakeview. It's on Sheffield. It's kind of right under where the L crosses, like kind of between Belmont and Addison, like somewhere in there.
Okay.
And it's this little corner. It's been there for as long as I know, and I've never been. So I go in there and get my big bowl of ramen, the tonkatsu ramen, which is the pork belly. I had for the first time in my life, Rick, a soft-boiled egg.
Oh, how'd that go for you?
It was good. I was surprised. I've always been kind of grossed out by like the texture and like how it would taste. And I know Dan McNeil ruined them for me because he used to bring hard-boiled eggs to work. And then he'd like peel them and like the yolk would be like teal colored. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if he just let him go bad and just didn't care or what. And the smell always grossed me out.
Yeah.
So there was half of one of these in my ramen. So I just like took a little gentle bite. I'm like, that was delicious. that was good. And soft boiled's different, I've learned. The yolk is still somewhat soft. It's not like a ball of hardened yolk. Like it was kind of like you probably wouldn't like this, like a syrup, like a maple syrup consistency of the yolk.
Okay,
like not runny, but not at all solid.
Sure.
But had mushrooms in it, green onions, like the whole works. And like I told you, this year I'm just trying stuff. I'm not saying hold this, just give it to me the way you intend. Every time I've done that, I've been happy with the order. And this was no different. So Penny's Noodle Shop, again, it's been there for an eternity. 3400 North Sheffield in Lakeview. It was great. I loved it. I still like the other place better that I had. I can't remember the name of it. I talked about it a couple weeks ago. But this was I could have used a little more of a saltiness from Penny's.
Okay.
Because I think when I think about ramen, I think salty.
Sure.
Because most of the time I'm eating the 29-cent packet of ramen that is basically salt and chicken broth seasoning.
Yes.
But I could have used a little more salt, but I could have done that myself. But it was excellent. So Penny's Noodle Shop, go do it. Check it out.
So for the other thing I have for this week is on Tuesday or earlier, I think it was over the last weekend, Sam was like, hey, I was thinking about this. Would you want to have lasagna at some point this week? I'm like, yes.
What kind of question is that?
Is there a trick question here? Or am I missing something? And so she's like, okay, cool. So made lasagna and had a little bit of like the leftover noodle. And she had a great idea. Maybe people have done this and I just haven't seen it or know of it. Lasagna chips.
Yeah, I've never seen this either until you sent it to me.
Which is essentially just put down some olive oil on your pan. Like cut the lasagna into more almost like tortilla looking size, like triangles, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, Parmesan. And they're awesome.
Yeah.
We had so there was like extra sauce there too. So to be able to like dip it into that if you want, they are addicting as hell. Like in that picture, just because they're so layered, not all of them were super crispy, but I mean, it's lasagna noodle. It's great.
So are you saying, and I'm sorry if I missed this, is this from you're taking leftover lasagna and then cutting it up, or are you saying like you had more noodles than you could use, so you took the noodles and did that? The
noodles.
Okay.
So that, and I'm telling you, it made a huge difference. Like the lasagna was really good in and of itself, but we kept like going for the chips. Like, oh my God, we could totally make an entire meal. Like those could absolutely be like a little outside the box appetizer that you have at some sort of party.
Yeah.
Like that good to where it's like you get like a little bit of it still tastes much more like a noodle than anything than like, the chips or whatever would. So you get that little bit of different consistency, but there was enough salt, there was enough seasoning all over it where it's like, oh yeah, this is a really good option. So if you're making lasagna or you want to, improv this with other types of pasta or whatever, I would say give it a spin.
I'll say this, have Sam, this is a homework assignment for Sam, and she's very creative and artistic. Put the recipe for these, like create them on Canva, and then give it to us and we'll post it so people can make these.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a good idea. All right, before we get to Ask a Fat, I forgot about this. As I was in mourning last night on Jimmy Buffett, I needed a margarita last night. So I want to shout out to Pepe's and Matson for giving me I love the Corona Rita, where there's a Corona jammed in your margarita upside down and somehow it just doesn't pour all in until the end. I got a spicy margarita from Pepe's, Corona Rita. Those are big ass jalapenos they put in there. Thank you.
I was going to say.
And then the tahini salted rim, which is clutch. Yeah. And then some of the tahini like got into the margarita, and then as I was drinking it, started going up into the beer. Dude, it was so good. And I love Pepe's. Pepe's I think part of the problem with Pepe's is that they kind of can vary from location to location.
Yes.
So they're not always the same, but the one in Matson on Lincoln Highway is great. And Pepe's I've been going to since I was a kid. Like those are the first tacos I ever had. My Aunt Rita loved them. So we would always just go there. And all I get from them is their beef and cheese tacos. That's it. Just beef and cheese on the soft corn tortillas. They're fabulous. And then Hope gets the chili con queso, which is literally a bowl of, for lack of a better term, I'm going to call it like enchilada sauce meets tomato soup.
For lack of a better turd.
Turd later. That's why I couldn't sleep last night because I had heartburn. Wonder why.
Right.
But it's
Hopefully it's a turd.
It's a bowl of like red. It's not enchilada sauce. It's not tomato soup. It's somewhere in between.
Okay.
And that's filled with cheese, like piles and piles of cheese. The cheese melts, and you eat it with either chips or tortillas. And I just take that and put it on top of my tacos.
Yeah.
Pepe's is so good. So thank you to Pepe's for helping me in my morning of Jimmy Buffett last night, because I needed it, and I needed a margarita, and I got one. So there you have it. All right, let's get to Ask a Fat, shall we? We have no voicemail today. If you want to leave us a voicemail, it's 708-858-3314. So we'll go straight to the voicemails.
Ask a fat about this and that. It's time to chat with the fats.
Ask a Fat is brought to you by our buddy, Charlie the Bacon Guy. R.I.P. your butthole, Charlie. Here he is with this week's Bacon Report.
Thanks, Jay. This week we have maple pepper, sriracha, ranch, and French toast bacon. Bacon jams are the original, the bourbon, the chorizo, and the pineapple. We did some R&D this week. Did pork belly cinnamon rolls. We did a French toast and a honey chipotle. They came out really great. I need to perfect them a couple more times and definitely taste them again or twice. But as soon as they're ready to go, I'll put them up and available for sale. We also tried a few other flavors for bacon. We did vanilla bourbon, solid. Nashville hot, double solid. And whiskey peppercorn. That one is the most unique I think we've ever tried. And it turned out really great. So thank you everybody for the suggestions. And I'm looking forward to getting bigger batches of all of those for all of you who would like that. For the Bacon Report, I'm Charlie the Bacon Guy.
Yes, that is last week's Bacon Report because Charlie is sick this week. He's got a little stomach bug. So he'll be back with a little bit of an update next week. He sent me, and I have it to try. I haven't tried it yet. I've got the Nashville, I've got the paprika, and the whiskey peppercorn. Full report coming next week on those three flavors. Can't wait to try them. He sent a big shipment to CHGO where you'll be hearing a lot from Charlie from CHGO soon. Very exciting. Yeah, so good for him. We're happy to have him aboard, unofficially, but officially soon. Get some for yourself. Email him, charliethebaconguy@gmail.com. Charlie the Bacon Guy on Instagram, @CZ the Bacon Guy on Twitter. Make sure you're following all those accounts, especially the Instagram, because you're going to see a lot of good pictures of bacon being made. That's for damn sure. And get in touch. Order that bacon, order the merch, everything. It's all great stuff. You're going to love it. I mean, dude, it's craft bacon. And it lasts a really long time. Like I think he actually sent the specifics a while back. And he said that the bacon lasts in your fridge for 45 days and 6 months in the freezer. Bacon jam can last 60 days in the fridge and 6 months in the freezer. So you've got time. So place a big order. This makes a really great holiday gift too. So if you start thinking ahead to saying, hey, I got, brothers-in-law or whoever, fathers-in-law to buy gifts for, get them some bacon. They're not going to be mad about it. I promise you that. charliethebaconguy@gmail.com. Check it out. Get in there. All right. Before we get to the official emails, we got a tweet this week from Juan. And Juan says, if you can go back and eat, like take the I'm Fat time machine and eat at a former version of one of these restaurants, which would you choose? McDonald's, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, KFC, or other. So he's saying, back in the day, 80s and 90s, when these places were at their absolute peak, which one would you choose to go back to? And
for me, yeah, not even a question.
Yeah, there's nothing better. And I know part of it is nostalgia.
Yeah, let's see. Are we on the same page?
I think so. Because you're usually there with your friends, your baseball team, whatever. But Pizza Hut, dine-in, couldn't top that. Could not beat it.
No. The lunch buffet, too?
Hell yes.
Dude.
But when that pizza would arrive and the server would have like the big pan and then slice it out for you. Oh, man. Pizza Hut was the best.
And especially if whoever was paying sprung for the stuffed crust.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's when you were living.
Yeah. Yeah, that Pizza Hut experience as a kid was the best. It was just so fun. Because they had like the arcade in there and everything, and they kind of let kids run wild. It was kind of just understood. But just the whole vibe in there with like, the checker tablecloths and the stained glass lights over every table. Pizza Hut was a vibe back in the day. So that would be my answer. I would also not mind going back to Taco Bell when everything was cheap.
Yeah, how about it?
Where you could just eat till your heart's content for $5.
Right, or your stomach taps out.
Yeah, either way. Or you turn into Charlie for a while.
Yeah, for me, especially we had a Pizza Hut down the street. So even though where my mom's house is not the most walkable area in the world, being right up against a 40-mile-an-hour street with no sidewalk will kind of do that. But we would make our way over to Pizza Hut. It was like that was like a summer thing where it's like, hey, can we get like $5, $10 and just go there, have the lunch buffet. Parents didn't have to come if they didn't want to. They could be like, hey, just do your thing, whatever, just go away. And we would, and it was fantastic. It felt like a treat to get to go do that.
And the breadsticks. And
the breadsticks.
Everything there was good, was so good, man. Like, I still like Pizza Hut. It still is in a rotation, and we order, crappy pizza when it's not like an Aurelio's or a Rosangelo's night. We just kind of go to, we'll get Pizza Hut or whatever. I will say too, Domino's has sort of stepped up over the last few years in terms of that. But Pizza Hut's
Papa John's and Little Caesars, not quite as much.
I just wish I know I've seen it on TikTok. There's somewhere where one of those Pizza Huts exists. But I think it's Ohio or Kentucky or something. But man, like now is the time, Pizza Hut. If you're listening, strike back and like start building a couple of these and like do your research and find like what area would work best. But I think people are ready for the sit down Pizza Hut again. I'd be there opening day, guaranteed.
Yeah, it was a vibe.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's get to the emails here. You can email us, imfatpod@gmail.com. This one comes from Pat. He says, how's it going, fellow fats? Catching up on the most recent episodes, I thought I'd mention a few things. Rick is spot on with Southern Cafe being phenomenal, but they also have a location in Crest Hill close to our friends at Marishka's. I used to go often when my mother-in-law lived in Joliet, but haven't been back in months. I keep trying to justify the 2-hour drive just because it's so damn good. The Sugar Mama is my go-to. All right, so that's Southern Cafe in Crest Hill. Rick tried that a couple weeks ago. Pat also says, I heard you guys talk about different chicken places and which are the best, but never heard you mention Dave's Hot Chicken. Not sure if you've ever had it, but if not, I highly recommend it. Not the same kind of spice as Nashville Hot, but similar. And personally, I'd put it right up there with Fry the Coop. Okay, I've seen a couple Dave's Hot Chickens and wasn't sure what to think. So now that I see it, I will try it.
I have not seen it nor heard of it, so I will keep an eye out.
Yeah. And then Pat lastly says, Jay, you've said that On the Border are your favorite store-bought tortilla chips, but if you ever shop at Meijer, you have to check out La Fiesta chips. They're every bit as good quality as a Mexican restaurant. Definitely not your typical store-bought tortilla chip. They're a little pricey, but every time we shop at Meijer, I make sure to get a minimum of 3 bags. Damn. Only thing is they might be specific to Meijer because I've never seen them anywhere else. They're usually on an end cap of an aisle, not by the other chips if you don't see them. Anyway, love the pod and keep up the good work. Your fellow fat, Pat. All right. Good stuff there, Pat. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Next one here is from Bobby.
Okay.
Simple. Okay, gents, what's the best meal for the following situations?
All right.
1, when you are really hot and sweaty.
Okay.
Should we go and should we answer these one at a time?
Let's knock them out. Yeah. Really hot and sweaty.
Really hot and sweaty.
I associate that with like basic like hot dog, just like grilling out kind of food. You know, something I can eat quickly, that's simple, that doesn't require a ton of work from me. I can dress it up if I want to. I can eat it plain if I want to. I can have 10 of them. Yeah, I would say like your basic barbecue, hot dog, chips, pasta salad would be my hot and sweaty food.
Right. The other context I think of is like if I'm on my way back from something that was where I got really hot and sweaty, ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. Frozen Coke. Slurpee.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
If you have some of those like cheap ass gel cert popsicles in the freezer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Always.
All right. Number 2, when you are really cold.
This one's easy for me. Chili.
Yes.
Or a hearty soup.
Yeah, I'm a chili person big time. If I can find myself, and I know I'm coming around on this, but ideally if I can get a really hearty chili that doesn't have beans, which I know kind of works against itself, that's my like ideal, and then I can throw in all the oyster crackers or saltines or whatever the hell you're going to throw in there too, and a good chili is so tough to beat when you're cold.
Yeah. What, do you not like the texture of the beans?
Yeah, it's a texture thing.
Yeah, they really have no taste.
Yeah.
I used to be like that too, where I didn't want beans, and then I'm like, yeah, screw it, I'll try it. I'm like, oh, these make it a lot hardier. So yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like, if let's put it this way, if I'm given chili with beans, I'm not being like, no, but it's like if I have a preference, sure, that's what it'd be.
Fair enough.
3, when you're really angry.
This seems to be a time for me to have some booze.
Yeah.
Maybe grab a beer, just, you know, and just kind of chill and like, I don't know, regroup. Maybe would be the way. I don't know if I associate food with anger.
I generally don't, but along with that, beer and just some chips. Like give me some potato chips, Fritos, something like that.
Something crunchy, yeah. Boy, I'm really looking forward to chips again. Whew. I finally was able to eat the chips last night at Pepe's a little bit because of my dental surgery. But I was like being so careful with them.
Yeah.
I can't wait to just dive into a bag of chips again. Ugh. The little things you take for granted.
When you are really tired.
I'm tired. So am I trying to like revitalize myself?
That's what I don't know.
I would say,
because if it's like right before bed, that's sweets.
Yeah, definitely. If it's before bed, it's like a little bit of like Ben and Jerry's or something. But if I'm trying to like get out of that, I'll almost always get a Gatorade, first of all, to get a little bit of like energy, electrolytes going. But then like that's kind of the rare time where I'll have like where I'll try to be a little bit healthier. Like if I'm feeling like exhausted, I'll try to get something that's not going to weigh me down. So maybe I get like grilled chicken or, eat a banana or something like that. That's going to kind of give me a little bit of natural energy. Or the other way would be like, I'm just tired. I don't want to think. So I'm going to get the cheapest, closest fast food available.
If I'm trying to revitalize myself and it's convenient, because convenience is obviously huge when you're tired.
Yeah.
Something spicy.
Oh, not
something
bad.
Spicy to wake me up.
Yeah,
wake up all the senses.
That's me. If I'm feeling like if I got a headache or a head cold. Yeah, I'm like especially
just drain it out.
Well, yeah, especially now with my new job where I have to do a podcast every day. Like if I got to get that gunk out of my head, I will find something spicy and just
do the blazing wings.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know if I can do blazing anymore, but something up there. Like I will say the mango habanero at B-Dubs is hot without killing you.
It's enough to get the job done.
It's sneaky hot. Yes, absolutely. Okay. I talked about having a beer when I'm angry, but going to Nick and Ivy will not make you angry. That's for damn sure. Nick and Ivy by now. They've been with us for months. Out there in Lockport, 1026 South State Street. Family-owned, small business. It's an awesome place. Paul and Chrissy run the place. And what I love about them is their commitment to making beer for everyone, not just the few, not just the beer snobs, not just the beer aficionados, but people just want to go and have a good time. And that's kind of the vibe of Nick and Ivy. If you could think of like your favorite dive bar, right? Where you go in, you feel welcome, everybody's happy to see you, everybody there is having a good time. There's sports on TV, but you add the craft beer aspect to the dive bar, feeling of comfort and welcome. It's not a dive by any means. It's a really nice place, but it's got that vibe where everyone's just there to have fun. It's not a scene. It's nothing like that. It's a good place to sit down, settle down for a while, pull up and drink some incredible beers. And they've got tons from your traditional Europeans to all the modern styles people are falling in love with. And they embrace sports and sports culture with college football here and NFL football next weekend. They're going to be on the TVs every weekend, every Thursday, every Monday. Every time there's football on, it'll be on. You've got the Cubs going for the playoffs now. You've got the White Sox also playing sports, allegedly. You'll find it. Hockey is going to start. Basketball. It's all going to be there for you. at Nick and Ivy. And if you love live music, they're your spot too. Every Tuesday, there's an open mic. Every Friday and Saturday, live acts come and play their giant stage. It's awesome. And they don't do their own food, but lots of great stuff there in the Lockport area. Bring it in. They'll deliver there for free as well. It's an awesome place to go and blow off some steam, hang out with some great people, and drink some great beer. Nick and Ivy Brewing on Facebook and Instagram. Their website, nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Go visit our buddies, Paul and Chrissy, out there in Lockport, 1026 South State Street.
Okay. This one is from Nathan. Hello, I read hello, boys, only as Brad Biggs.
I do it as George Hoffman. Hello, boys.
Hello, boys. Happy to hear about that Culver's custard deal from Rick. I'll be trying that one out myself this weekend. Although there is a Dairy Queen deal starting September 11th. By using the app, you get an 85-cent blizzard.
All right.
I'm sure it's small, but still a good deal.
Okay.
Also, Jay, while you're on a ramen kick, Strings in Chinatown is still my goat.
Okay.
Happy to hear you like High Five. That place was really good when I tried it. Just gotta do full spice next time.
Nice.
And finally, pastries were discussed on the last episode, and I feel like mentioning Captain Bakery on 33rd and McKinley Park. Tried that the other morning and was very pleased for the $6 I spent on my haul.
Nice. All right, good Rex. I've actually not been to High Five yet. I tried to go there and they were not open yet. It was like they open at 4. But Strings in Chinatown, that's it. See, when traffic's really bad, I always jump off on Chinatown and then kind of cut over the Halstead and go to work. But Strings, see, Chinatown, I always get a little bit worried in Chinatown because I don't want to do like too highly authentic.
Okay.
Because I know there can be some stuff I might not be comfortable with in there.
Sure.
And as much as I'm, willing to try stuff this year, I do have I'm working my way up to it. So I will check out Strings in Chinatown. I'll check out the menu and go. I know ramen doesn't get that exotic. So good tip. Appreciate that. Thank you, Nathan. All right. Last one here comes from M in Lombard. M says, longtime listener and first time writer, please excuse the bombardment of recommendations. I've been meaning to email you for some time. In one of your more recent episodes, you mentioned it's been a hot minute since you've had a good barbecue. Well, my friends, might I suggest Station 1 Smokehouse in Plainfield, Illinois. While this may require some travel, it will be 100% worth your time. We had their sampler platter, which was mighty plentiful for 2+ sides. My standard bearer for barbecue is ribs, and they have some of the best I've ever had. Meaty, tender, perfectly seasoned. The platter also came with smoked turkey, which is usually dry and bland to most joints. Here was a whole other level, moist and perfectly smoked. Now to the opposite end of the Chicagoland area to Pingree Grove for the Mike House Ice Cream Shop. Okay, this is a small mom and pop stand that makes ice cream super fresh. I am usually a chocolate and peanut butter gal, but have chosen to live adventurously this summer and tried their St. Louis butter cake. That's what we call Ranji. Absolutely no regrets here. They mix in chunks of fresh butter cake that have the consistency of chewy brownies with a light raspberry jam. Oh my God, into fresh vanilla ice cream. This might be the one that breaks me out of my chocolate and peanut butter shell.
Get a better shell.
Oh, I don't like peanut butter ice cream. I'm very weird that way. I like peanut butter, but I don't like it in ice cream. My column. And then M says, finally for Jay, from one early maturing bird watcher to another, I recommend the Merlin Bird app from the Cornell Lab. This is a 100% free app that you can use to ID and record bird sounds. It has pinpoint accuracy along with the ability to ID by photos. You can also save your recordings and research your findings. Yes, you can geek out to your heart's content and embrace your early maturing ways. Keep up the good work. We enjoy listening weekly. That's from M in Lombard. I do have the Merlin Bird app. It is
shocker.
Dude, I know, but take away the making fun of me for my oldness. It is so cool. You go outside and you hear birds chirping, okay? And you hit the what equates to the record button. And as birds chirp, the app recognizes the chirps and tells you which bird it is. So in real time, it'll be American Robin. And a little light will pop up next to it. It'll be Cardinal, Northern Cardinal. Boop, 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 boop. And that chirps. So when I go on my walks with Bailey, I can walk around through the forest preserve and record, and I can hear all these different birds. It's really cool. And then if there's one in your yard or wherever that you haven't seen before, you can get a picture, and then it will tell you which bird it is. It's very cool. It's really like, you could tell that the Cornell lab spent tons of time developing this thing to the point where it works incredibly. It's really cool. It's a very cool thing. So if you're into birding or anything like that, go check out the Merlin Bird app. It is free. It is very cool. Kind of similar to, you ever seen the app? I think it's called Picture This, where you could take a picture of a plant and it will identify it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So it's the same kind of idea, but it also has the audio element of that bird chirping is this bird. And it will also show you, like, these are the kind of birds you will see, like, where you live.
True.
And here's, like, the months they're active. And then you can log, like, where you saw it. Like, they have, like, GPS coordinates. And then Cornell Lab uses that data to update their It's cool. It's a very cool thing. Whatever the interest would be, the science and technology of it is awesome. So
yeah, I can appreciate that part of it for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. I think it was actually Sarah's mom who told me about that, because we were at her. This all started at Sarah's mom's house at Easter, and she has like 10 bird feeders, and I was like staring out the window, just watching the birds. And
I'm sure. See, I wonder if the way the technology actually works is it pinpoints and it sends a signal out to the bird, and its internal machinery actually gives some sort of signal back to say what type of bird it is. Because birds aren't real.
You're an idiot. I was like, where's he going with this one? I thought it was going to be it tells you where old people are. And then the birds fly there knowing there'll be food. You would never.
You don't need that. Old people aren't moving that much.
That's a low blow.
Right. No, it's just the birds aren't real people.
That's right. Yeah.
Check out the movement.
Exactly.
Anywho, follow us on all of our social media at I'mFatPod, I'mFatPod@gmail.com. Check out the Patreon or Spotify to contribute if you would like. Also, I'mFatMerch.com. Check out if there's not a sale going on right now, then maybe wait about 24 hours and there'll probably be another one. So we got lots of great options in our designs. Thanks to Mark Allen Fishman for those. YouTube.com/I'mFatPodcast to subscribe. We're getting close to that 1,000 mark. And then like each video as well. That helps us out in terms of numbers and all that stuff. And speaking of juking numbers, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, unsubscribe, and resubscribe to the regular podcast feed. And please leave us the old 5-star rating and review. We got a couple new ratings this week. Thank you to the people that did that. And the best thing you can do is check out our sponsors: Charlie the Bacon Guy, Mazda of Orland Park, Frato's Culinary Kitchen, and Nick and Ivy Brewing.
I have dates for the TeePublic sales.
Oh, okay. Go for
I just found the email that went to my spam. Okay, so this sale ends today. If you're listening on Monday, September 4th, you get 35% off today only. The next sale is September 16th and 17th, and then you have another one September 28th through 30th. So put those in your calendar if you're looking to stock up at I'mFatMerch.com. All right, sorry. Back to your thing.
He's Jay. I'm Rick. And this is the I'm Fat Podcast.
55 burgers, 55 fries, 55 tacos, 55 pies, 55 cokes, 100 tater tots, 100 pizzas, 100 tenders, 100 meatballs, 100 coffees, 55 wings, 55 shakes, 55 pancakes, 55 pasta, 55 peppers, and 155 taters.